already know that fighting game characters and that kind of stuff is subjective, and a lot of people may like her gameplay. A lot of people may not. Um, I personally think she's okay. She's not anything special. Um, I had way more fun with Terry, and I'm still having a lot of fun with Terry actually. Um, she kind of made me want to go back to Rashid as well because for a long time I was a Rashid main. Um, and the reason was because I thought that Mai was gonna be more of a speedy character, similar to Mian um, from King of Fighters 14. Um, I thought that she was gonna be like that, but she's really not. She's everything is based around her fans. Her fans are what makes everything work. And you pretty much have to play the same way, which is fine, I guess, if she was a little bit more fun or a little bit more just as a character more cool. And I'm not saying she's not. I'm just saying, like, for me personally, um, if I'm not doing it for the vibes or anything like that, and the gameplay isn't that good or good enough for me or what I was expecting, it's not gonna be for me personally. Um, but yeah, I mean, but she's all right. I'm not saying that she sucks or anything like that. I'm just saying for me personally, she just wasn't that good. Also, I played the open beta, and my favorite thing about it was Bosch. Bosch was definitely, I mean, not Bosch, fucking, they got the same vibes though. Vox, Vox. Um, Vox is pretty cool. You just have to, like I said, you have to learn his distance, like the distance management between them. Rock was all right. Didn't really care for Rock that much. Um, and and Kane was pretty good too. But anyways, I did want to talk about my problem with the beta. The problem with the beta, in my opinion, is the time it takes you to get from the loading screen to um, to get a game, to get a match. It just takes too long. Um, and there's a loading screen once you get a match. There's a loading screen before the first round, and then there's another loading screen in the second round. I think that's crazy, and it's not even the loading screen. It's just black. If it was a loading screen and maybe you had Mai like dancing or something, with like I don't know, like something like that's entertaining that keep us because in boxing there's the number girls, right? When the girls with a number, and you kind of sometimes they look pretty good, and you're like, damn, and you kind of get distracted for a little bit. Entertainment, right? Now, if you're gonna do that, if you're gonna have Mai doing jumping jacks in between in between rounds, and that's gonna be the loading screen, then I'm in. But that's not what's happening. And of course, I'm joking. I don't want loading screens in between rounds. That's crazy. You know, um, I did notice that some of the stages were harder to load than others. You know, maybe that's what it is. Maybe I don't know. Just figure it out because that shit's crazy. Like the main thing that a new player is scared of is playing other people online. And the more they have time to think about it, the more they're going to be scared and the less they're going to do it. And that's like half of the people that you're going to be losing if you don't have offline materials. If you don't have offline content for them to play, they're only going to play your game for a little bit of time and then they're going to discard it because their online sucks. But anyways, that's my opinion. That's my advice to whoever's working on Fatal Fury. um, City of the Wolves. And I'm pretty sure they're going to have another beta. But anyways, moving on here to the main subject of today. I did talk about Elena in my last video when I was talking about Street Fighter and and that she was going to bring a lot of changes. And mostly I was talking about um, DLCs, right? But there's one DLC that I didn't mention, which is like a guest character. And, you know, if there is a guest character, right, I think it should be one guest character. And some people are thinking that there shouldn't be any more guest characters until season 4. But I think there should be a guest character because at least one, and make that a fifth character. It'll be more than in season 1 and season 2. I believe in season 1 we had Rashid, Ed, who's the other one? I'm trying to think. Aki and Akuma. That's 4. Right. And in the second season, we had Terry, Mai, Elena, and Bison. Right? So that's 4, right? So I'm hoping that this season brings more than 4 characters to the table. And it'll make maybe 5 or 6, but let's keep it simple. As I say, it's going to be 5. So I already said that it was going to be Vega, Sakura, Monkey, a Psychic Monkey, and Bosch, right? But here's the thing, like, the 5th guest character, in my personal opinion, should be a guest character, and it should be from another franchise that Capcom has familiarity with working with. You see, in the first season, Capcom shook hands with SNK, and in the past, SNK and Capcom has made games together. Capcom versus SNK 1, 2. I don't know if there's a 3. I think there is, but I don't remember. So it's made several games with SNK and have been successful, in my opinion. And I feel like that's why they made that connection with Terry and Mai in the first season. And we already know that they have an upcoming re-release of their games, and it's in honor of that relationship between them and SNK, between Capcom and SNK, and kind of rekindling that relationship between those two companies, and maybe hopeful for the future that they might have another Capcom versus SNK game in the future. At least that's what I'm hoping. And I feel like this was kind of like them inviting Mai and Terry was kind of like a stamp of approval that this relationship is still going on, and that this relationship is strong and has hope for the future. And it gives the people hope for the future that there might be an SNK versus Capcom in the future. But there's another one that's also as popular. By the way, check out my drawing. It's pretty cool. And that's Marvel versus Capcom. And what better way to bring in a character that symbolizes that connection between Capcom and Marvel than Cyclops. I feel like Cyclops would take the game to the next level. It will signify the relationship between Marvel and Capcom and how strong it still is. They recently had a re-release of Marvel vs. Capcom Collection. It did very well. I think it broke records, if I'm not mistaken. So this means that there's money there. And if Marvel is smart, and if they want to make this happen in the future, they would want this to happen, and I think Cyclops would be perfect, because of the symbolism between him and Ryu shaking hands and dabbing it up and this, that, and the other. You know, that would be perfect in my opinion. And the other reason is because I believe personally that if there's going to be changes to the game, which I believe there is going to be changes to the game, drive impact, there might be aerial drive impacts. This is one of the things that a lot of people have been talking about. Maybe there'll be air drive impacts. And that'll make it easier for people to adjust to someone like Cyclops. Because Cyclops is one of these characters that has he's from Marvel vs. Capcom, right? And this type of gameplay, there's a lot of aerial maneuvering. He has moves where he's in the air and he's shooting a laser, pointing a laser at you, whichever direction or whatever. And this kind of stuff, like him jumping around and doing flips in the air, can be countered if everybody else has a drive impact. Because Cyclops in the game as it is right now, he would break the game, right? Because if he's able to do the things that he's able to do in, NVC, then, he would be OP, right? There's nothing you can do. He's going to be jumping, flipping around on the screen and taking his time, gathering meter, and then he's just going to do supers, right? Especially if you're facing somebody like Justin Wong or something like that, right? So what you want to do is you want to add a new mechanic that comes with the new character that's going to be able to move around the screen like that. And you want to give everybody an aerial drive impact to be able to counter that. But anyways, that's my personal wish, I guess you could say. It's probably not going to happen, but I think it would be perfect if they did that. I think it would align well with what they did in the last season. It will align well if they're going to do changes, and if it is the changes that I think it's going to be. And why do I think there's going to be an air impact? Because SNK just put out a game that I just talked about it, or it was actually a beta, but they're about to put out a game where there is drive impacts, like aerial drive impacts, and you're able to counter people in the air or from the air to an opponent that's in the ground. So yeah, I think I personally think it would be a good idea. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know if I'm off base, if it's too much to ask for Cyclops to be part of Street Fighter 6. Or if you think it should be another character like Wolverine or Magneto. Wolverine, as far as the gameplay goes right now, would be better. He would be a better fit. And it wouldn't be so crazy to see him in Street Fighter. There's other characters like that from Marvel that would make more sense for Street Fighter 6 gameplay wise and just the way it is. But if you take into consideration that they're gonna put other stuff in the game anyways, and hoping that there would be something like aerial impact, it will make it better. And also the symbolism behind Cyclops is just better than something like Wolverine. I think Wolverine maybe in the past has been connected more to Akuma. They have more of a rivalry, I believe. But anyways, it's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if it's possible. Let me know if it's a good idea. Let me know if you have a better choice because they also, by the way, just to mention, they did ask the devs if it would be possible to have a Marvel character in the game, and they said yes. So if they said yes, I mean, it's the possibilities are there. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it for today. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you guys later.